All right. So what's holding you back? Is it maybe the way you grew up? Are you like a product of your environment? Was it the circumstances? The card you were dealt growing up? That's probably what it is, right? Or is the thing holding you back you? You see, I remember hearing this story about a reporter who went around. There was two brothers. One of the brothers, he lived on the streets. He wasn't doing well. Pretty sure he had issues with drugs and alcohol. He was just living a terrible life. The other brother was very successful. He had a lot of money. He was living the life he wanted to live. So the reporter went and kind of interviewed both these guys. He interviewed the poor brother who lived on the street, who was just, his life was in shambles. Why do you live like this? He says, well, growing up, we didn't have the best lives. Maybe like the dad was an abuser. Mom wasn't always there, was an alcoholic. We grew up in poverty, all these things. So obviously this was the outcome. It's a card I was dealt. This is the life I was destined to live. He asked the other brother, the successful one, the same thing. The brother continued to say the exact same things as the other brother. The card that they were dealt, the circumstances and situation that they were in growing up. So he said, I had no choice but to become successful. So, we all have shit that happens to us in our lives. Some of us worse than others. But it's what you're going to do with these circumstances. So, bullshit happens in your life. And you can choose to fall, let it fucking destroy you, and hold you down your whole fucking life. Or you can use that shit as fuel and come out on the other side even greater. You hear this shit all the time. Power through adversity. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Grow through what you go through. All this shit. Some of you might think it's corny as fuck. But it's fucking real. Whether you want to believe it or not. And it's facts. It's like in movies, shows, anything. There's always a person or say animal, anything that gets either dealt a shitty card or gets put into a shitty situation and they overcome it and come out the other side a fucking champion. And I think we all have that choice. And instead, we'd rather sit around bumming out on ourselves, talking down to ourselves, and making up excuses for the card that we were dealt or the situations that we were in. I remember being a child and hanging out at the methadone clinic with my mom. So that was like normal. Was hanging out at the methadone clinic, going to AA meetings. We were poor. We lived in a shitty apartment. Never had nice things. Never had new shit. Everything was fucking gross. We ate shitty food all the time. And man, as I got older, into like my teen years, I remember kind of like holding on to these old programs of just thinking like, well, I'm just a poor guy. Or I just don't have money. I don't have nice things. And that's just how I'm meant to live. And it wasn't until after my mom had passed away, years later, talking with one of my sisters, she mentioned how we used to go to the methadone clinic. And here I am, 20, 21 years old. I've been straight edge my whole life. I didn't even fucking know what a methadone clinic was. Then everything just clicked when we had this conversation. And my mom was a heroin addict. And I didn't even know until I was like in my 20s. But I immediately had flashbacks to all these times where her behavior was so off. And there was things that were just not right with her. Where there were situations of like going into her room at night and, you know, her fucking bobbing for apples, fucking head between her legs, fucking almost falling off the bed and shit. And like I said, it wasn't until years later that I realized that hanging at the methadone clinic is not normal. And, you know, growing up poor and in the shitty situations that we were in, I could use these excuses my whole fucking life. And for a long time, I fucking did. But it got to a point where I had to take control of my life and do something for myself and stop, you know, backing myself with these shitty situations or the card I was dealt growing up. So once I was able to get my self-talk right, once I was able to realize that I'm capable of more and that I want more and that all these old programs I have in my head are what's holding me back, I rewrote the fucking narrative. And I used all that shit as fucking fuel. So, you know, there's plenty of other things that had happened to me as a kid and shitty situations that I was in. You know, I've been living on my own since my teenage years and just was always in trouble, doing bad shit, doing stupid shit, self-sabotaging myself. And I decided that I don't have to be defined by my past or the shitty things that had happened to me. So now I rewrote the whole system. And that shit that happened to me, good. I'm fucking glad it did. Because I came out the other side fucking swinging. And I'm gonna keep swinging. And that's what I want all of you to do. Whatever you think about daily of things that are holding you back, or things that are stopping you, of the card you were dealt, whatever shitty situation you were in, whatever stupid shit fucking happened to you that you didn't deserve to fucking happen to you, but it did. And that fucking sucks. And I'm sorry that that fucking happened to you. But you know what? It's fucking time to turn that shit around and come out fucking better on the other side. That shit doesn't have to define you. The shit that happened to me doesn't define me. Yours isn't gonna define you. So that's what we're fucking here to do, is to create that new dream. So go do it.